Week 34 then of the Barclays Premier League, and we're getting close to the finish line. So let's have a roundup of the results, starting with the Friday night game between Leicester and Newcastle at the King Power Stadium. Maguire was back after the birth of another child, and Sung Ki was still in the midfield for the Magpies, keeping Jonjo Shelvey out. To the action then, and 14 minutes, Newcastle free kick 30 yards out, and Rondon really got hold of it. It rattled the crossbar and went away to safety. 27 minutes, up the other end, Harvey Barnes, a great solo run, and shot warmed Dubrovka's palms. But then on 31 minutes, some neat teamwork by the Magpies, got the ball out to the left. Ritchie's cross was met by Perez, who out-jumped the defender, and it beat Schmeichel at his far post. Magpies 1-up. That was the state of play at the half-time break into the second half, and a great run from the ever-improving Shah set up Almiron on 58 minutes, but his shot was too high. And then the best chance of the match for Leicester on 78 minutes, following a nice team move, and Tielemans' diagonal ball into space was ran onto by Vardy, and this is meat and potatoes for him, and unfortunately his effort just went over. Newcastle then hung on for a badly needed win, 1-0. They're now virtually guaranteed Premier League status next season, and Benitez absolutely delighted at that. So to the new White Hart Lane Stadium then. Full house, Spurs at home to bottom-placed Huddersfield. Pochettino certainly rang the changes, of course, enforced changes with Ali and Kane out through injury. Son was rested in view of that second leg Champions League match at the Etihad, and so Mora and Llorente were up front. Also, he decided to rest Trippier and Rose in the back position, and Alderweireld. But anyway, let's get into the action. Huddersfield, Moy on the bench, which I found a bit of strange, seeing as he's really been their best player all season. A couple of minutes in, and Congola tripped Mora just outside the box, and Eriksen's effort hit the wall. 12 minutes and a half chance following across from the left from the excellent Wallace Peters, and he headed back across goal to Llorente, who failed to connect. Spurs were dominating possession, and Huddersfield not pressing at all, and 11 people behind the ball. 23 minutes, a neat linking passing move by Spurs. Llorente flicked it on, and great anticipation by the Kenyan captain Manana, who rounded Neymar and slotted it home for 1-0. That really set things up, because 3 minutes later Mora made it 2. And what a great strike it was on the right side of the box. This followed a nice chip from Sissoko following a corner. The ball rocketed past the Huddersfield keeper into the left corner. So that was 2-0. Stankovic for Huddersfield had an effort, went wide on 30. Should have done a lot better. And Llorente's had a header on 39 from Eriksen free kick. Llorente looking very powerful. So it was 2-0 at the break, into the second half, and a lovely chipped cross from Voigt and Llorente hit the ball on the volley, and what a street strike it was, and the ball skimmed the bar. That was on 47 minutes. 70 minutes, Spurs broke away after a rare foray up front by Huddersfield, and Llorente unfortunately delayed his shot and he was blocked and went for the corner. Meunier came on for Huddersfield and he had a chance on 74, but his header went just wide. And then we had saw a great save from Lloris on 79 from Bakura, free kick. But inevitably on 87 minutes, a delightful cross from Eriksson from the right, found Moura. His first touch set up a sweet volley and it hit the corner, and it was 3-0 to Spurs. 92 minutes, Moura, who'd been exceptional throughout, completed his hat-trick with an absolute rocket as he was put through just on the into the penalty area on the right, and the ball hit the roof of the net. No chance for the keeper. He secured his hat-trick and the match ball, and a very good day at the office for Pochettino. That's their third straight win at the new White Hart Lane Stadium, and they've yet to concede a goal. So final scoreline, Spurs 4, Huddersfield 0. So to St Mary's, and Wolves, licking their wounds after that loss in the Cup semi-final last week, were in town. And they looked like all at sea. Within 2 minutes, a Sims cross had been converted by Redmond with great anticipation, getting ahead of the defender in the 6-yard box. And that opened the scoring for Southampton, 1-0. On to 8 minutes, up the other end, Wolves starting to show a bit more composure, and Dendonker's header went wide from a Neves free kick. But on 14 minutes, Redmond, who was looking extremely sharp, had a shot on target, but for Patricio was equal to it. And then on 19 minutes, Jimenez got in the act. He created some space for himself, had a decent shot, but easily dealt with by the Southampton keeper. But on 28 minutes, Wolves had been looking more and more threatening, and a swift move led to a corner. Bolly came up from the back, and he met the corner with a power header, and they were level at 1 each. But Southampton are made of tough stuff now, and just a matter of a minute later, a really great move with Ings putting Redmond through, and he dinked the ball over the keeper delightfully to put Southampton back in front 2-1. And a few minutes later, they should have scored again when Sims had a gilt-edged chance, but he pushed the ball wide with just the keeper to beat. So he got to the interval and it was 2-1. Into the second half, less action I must say, and Saints would look pretty comfortable, and on 71 minutes, Long, who had come on for Ings, was left unmarked on the byline as he hooked in Southampton's third. There was a late flurry from Yoshida. It could have gone to 4, but Patricio managed to save that one. But all in all, Southampton well-deserved winners, 3-1. So, to Turf Moor, Burnley at home to Cardiff. Cardiff absolute desperate for points as the drop is getting ever closer for Warnock's men. Back-to-back wins for Deitch. He's looking much more relaxed now. And there was an early chance for Burnley for Wood, and he hit the post. They then had a powerful run from Taylor on the left, which led to a free kick, which got touched behind by Etheridge. But from the resulting corner, Wood was there to head in to give Burnley the lead. The rest of the half and into the second, Cardiff were being very competitive, and they had a couple of penalty appeals waved away that led to a lot of hot air from Warner on the sideline. He was not happy at all. They then Arter got in on the act, and his shot clipped the top of the frame, and Hoylett should have done better in the second half when he skied a shot way over. So Cardiff once again had their chances, but we got to minute 90, and it was looking ominous for Cardiff. However, there was a handball from Tarkowski, but again the referee denied it. And from the resulting event afterwards, Burnley went upfield, and on 92 Woods got his brace and took Burnley over the finish line to win this one by 2-0. As I say, Warner was absolutely so unhappy at the final whistle, and he did have a fair point on looking on replay on at least one of the penalty appeals. Anyway, Burnley 2, Cardiff 0. So to Old Trafford, Solskjaer's lost 4 of the last 5. So they definitely needed a win to keep their top 4 chances alive. West Ham were in town. Their last 2 performances have been woeful. Team news, well, in light of the Champions League fixture on Tuesday at the new camp, Rashnick was on the bench. Shaw, of course, wasn't able to play because he's suspended. Rocco was at left back, and Lukaku and Martial were up front for the Reds. A nervous United looked second best early on, and were very lucky not to go behind when Anderson converted after he found some space in the 6-yard box, and the header found him. He was given offside, but on closer inspection, it looked like Dalot on the right side was playing him on. So West Ham aggrieved and Pellegrini not happy. And then Rocco, up the other end this time, got a cross in, and Martial with a neat layoff. Mata into the penalty. Snodgrass there as well. Snodgrass looked like he got the ball, but Mata fell over like he'd been hit by a lorry, and the referee pointed to the penalty spot, which looked extremely harsh on the Hammers. Anyway, Pogba, who's got the stutter out of his run now, converted, and West Ham were 1 behind. Free kick for the Hammers a few minutes later, and Lanzini's shot deflected over. We were into the second half then, with United luckily 1 up on 49 minutes, so Anderson converted at the far post from an exquisite Snodgrass cross, following a dreadful clearance by De Gea. 1-1. Rashford came on, and he had an early shot which was pushed away by Fabianski, but Antonio had a couple of chances up the other end. Firstly, the bar denied him, with De Gea again clutching at air, and then De Gea did make a sensational save from an Antonio header. So it was with some relief that as we got into the last minutes of the game, that a long pass by Pogba was anticipated by Martial. He ran into the penalty area, and Fredericks made an awful challenge, really. Stupid channels, brought Martial down. Referee pointed to the spot. and Pogba converted his second penalty. And United hung on. That was on 87 minutes, that second penalty. They hung on and took the points 2-1. Solskjaer, in interview, said, "We were lucky." He's not joking. And Pellegrini went through the match and basically made a case that the Hammers should have won 1-0. Anyway, final score, Man United 2, West Ham 1. South Coast battle then at the Amex. Brighton at home to Bournemouth, both sides desperately needing points. Brighton probably more so. Murray was rested on the bench for Brighton. Bournemouth have lost 11 out of their last 12 away games. Okay, so let's get into the action. Half chances for both sides in the first half hour. It was pretty even, really, and then on 33 minutes Gosling finished off a nice neat team goal, very much repeating what we've seen a lot this season from Bournemouth. Anyway, he prodded it in from 6 yards to take the Cherries to the break 1-up. What happened in the second half was astonishing. Brighton turn away if you're a fan of Brighton. On 55 minutes, a counter-attack by the Cherries. Fraser swept it home easily, 2-0. And then a few minutes later, Knockaert made an absolutely appalling challenge on one of the Bournemouth players and received the red card. After that, Brighton were backpedaling, and Bournemouth sealed the win with a neat finish from Brooks after another pleasant team move. 2 late goals from Wilson on 82 and on 92 Stanislav completed a rout. Bournemouth winning this one by 5-0. Chris Hughton wasn't very impressed at the final whistle, and on this form Brighton are seriously in danger of going down. Final score then, Brighton 0, Bournemouth 5. So we're at Craven Cottage, Fulham at home to Everton. Fulham, of course, already relegated. Everton recent form's been good, but you wouldn't have believed that after you watched the game. Basically, Everton looked out of sorts throughout, and Fulham managed to comfortably get a win by 2-0. They had goals from Kearney on 46 minutes after a lovely assist from Babel, and Babel himself on 69 minutes latched onto a neat pass from Mitrovic and outpaced defenders to clip it over Pickford. Mitrovic was superb throughout, and I'm sure he's not going to be playing Championship football next season. It was a great result for Fulham and their manager. But Everton, well, underperformed terribly. Richarlison, Sigurdsson was so disappointing, and they hardly had a shot all game. And the defence very statuesque. So all in all, a good result for Fulham. They won this game by 2-0. So to Sunday's fixtures. The first one was at Selhurst Park. Of course, the two top teams playing on Sunday, and that hasn't happened too often this season. Man City were the visitors. Team news, Mendy was back at left back. He's been missing for most of the season with injury. And we also saw Company alongside Laporte in the centre of City's defence. Benteke was up front for Palace, and once the game got started, it was clear that City were going to have the possession, and Palace were defensively organised. Saha was almost playing like an extra wing back, and it begged problems really for Palace. But of course, with the fear of being hit for 6 by City, it's not surprising that Hodgson adopted this tactic. Anyway, so as the game unfolded, we saw Sterling Mr. Sit early on, and Silva performed a miracle on the byline to set up that chance for Sterling, but that was on 8 minutes. A rasping shot from Sterling on 14 after a wonder pass from De Bruyne opened the scoring to City 1-0. And on 27 minutes, Aguero, being very quiet up to then, he had his first chance, but his effort just went over. 30 minutes, a rare opportunity for Palace in the City's penalty box. Intricate stuff from Saha. It was a positive attack, although it didn't reap any rewards. A minute later, and a scintillating Sane run tested Palace's keeper Sita. Highly impressive Sane throughout, I might add. 44 minutes, City had 3 men in the penalty box, and it was amazing that they didn't connect and make the second goal, but a series of blocks forced the ball away. So into the second half with City just a goal up, and on the hour, Palace seemed to be much more adventurous after the break, more competitive, but the chances were still very scarce for them. Anyway, on 52 minutes, Sane's precise cross was met by Sterling, and it was in the corner before you blinked, and City were in the comfort zone of 2-0. De Bruyne was running the show, and all of the aspects of City's play were 5-star. On 80 minutes, Milivojevic free kick amazingly pulled a goal back for Palace. This was really against the run of play, but it shook City up, and Jesus had come on for the Aguero, and on 89, a clinical finish from him following another superb assist by De Bruyne set up the third goal. City comfortable winners by 3-1 and went back to the top of the table. So to the clash of the round at Anfield, could Liverpool return to the top with a win over the 4th placed Chelsea? Keita was in for Wijnaldum, and Chelsea selected Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek, which was quite an attacking move by Sarri. Hazard was playing up front as a false 9 with the 2 big guys on the bench, Higuain and Giroud. Chamberlain was in, Henderson was in midfield for the Reds, and it was a solemn occasion at the start, almost to the day, 30 years since the tragic Hillsborough disaster when 96 Liverpool fans lost their lives. I remembered it vividly. I was sitting in front of my TV set watching as the pictures were coming through from Hillsborough, and it was really a tragic event, to say the least. So let's get to the action. Within 5 minutes, Salah was looking very dangerous. He had a volley that looked sharp. That was from a Robertson cross. It was a extremely fast-paced game with a lot of high quality and precision passing, but up to the 25th minute there hadn't been any really clear chances on goal. On 29 minutes though, Willian on the break had a shot that went high and wide, and then 37 minutes, first real chance for Salah, and he pulled it back to Mane, who hit the stanchion just wide of the goal. On 39 minutes, Rudiger had to go off. Christensen replaced him, and just before the break, a great free kick from Liverpool, but from Arnold, forced Kepa to save with his legs as the Liverpool attack rushed in to get a touch. So we got to the break and it was goalless. Great game, however. Second half, and Liverpool very much on the front foot. So we got to 50 minutes and Mane headed in at the far post after some great work by Henderson, who pushed the ball across from the byline, and Liverpool deservedly won up. Within 2 minutes, on minute 52, they'd made it 2 with an absolutely terrific strike from Salah. He came in from the right, as he does, set the ball up on his left peg, and he hit the ball from just outside the area, and it went in the roof of the net like a rocket. Kepa having absolutely no chance. The stadium erupted, and Liverpool were 2 goals to the good. 56 minutes, they could have been 3 up with a Firmino strike just inches wide. But then a response from Chelsea, and who else but Hazard. 58 minutes, a great diagonal 30-yard ball was put through to Hazard, and he was faced by Alisson. He flicked the ball wide of Alisson, but it hit the upright. A minute later, he had another golden chance into the 6-yard box, but he scuffed his shot, so it was easy for Alisson. Higuain came on for Hudson-Odoi, and Ronaldo came on for Keita. The last 10 minutes, Liverpool were in control, and the crowd was in great voice. It reminded me of those days in the 80s when Liverpool were invincible at home. And on 88 minutes, Mane's strike could have made it 3, but Kepa made a good save to push it round. So all in all, a tremendous result for Klopp and Liverpool. They've won this game by 2 goals to 0, and they went back to the top of the table. So the final match in the week 34 was the Monday night match at Vicarage Road, Watford versus Arsenal. Holebas was out injured for Watford. Lacazette on the bench again, or Mkhitaryan chosen in midfield. Well, this match was ultimately decided by 2 absolutely dreadful errors by Watford. The first came on 9 minutes, an innocuous back pass to the goalkeeper Foster, and he decided to show some skills in trying to give himself an extra yard, and as he connected with the ball, Aubameyang had slipped in, blocked that, and it ricocheted back into the net, and so they were 1 down. Arsenal 1 up after 9. Then a matter of sort of 90 seconds later, into Arsenal's half, there was a challenge between Deeney and I think it was Xhaka, and Deeney unfortunately led with the elbow, managed to stick the elbow in the Arsenal defender's face, and a linesman alerted the referee to this, who then produced the red card, and Deeney was off. So after that, it was really hard going for Watford, 1 down and down to 10 men. First half was rather inauspicious, got to the break, then 1-0. Second half, we saw some good work from Mkhitaryan, although he missed 2 sitters. Golden chance on 56. He's free at the back post, but he hesitated, and Foster managed to block it. And another effort a little bit later. Messina hit the upright for Watford, and then as time ticked away, Watford had the better chances. 74 minutes, Gray managed to slip round the goalkeeper, but unfortunately he was forced wide and defenders blocked that effort. And then on 82, Hughes had a good chance but managed to head over. So 87, final effort from Aubameyang, and he hit that wide. So we got to the final whistle. Arsenal had won it by a single goal, and so basically that's the end of week 34. Now I'm tacking on the end of this podcast the league table, and it's complete league table. Most teams have completed 34, although there are a number of teams have only completed 33. For example, Liverpool at top played 34, 85 points, but City have only played 33 and they're on 83. Cardiff now look doomed. They are 3 points below Brighton, but Brighton have a game in hand. Chelsea are back to 5th, Arsenal gone into 4th, a point behind Spurs. So goal of the week, well, no worries about this one. It's that second goal by Mohamed Salah in Liverpool's win against Chelsea. What a tremendous strike. He'll now be a legendary icon forever on Anfield terraces. Okay, that's your lot.